Hello guys, this is Donald's Movies, and welcome to the World of Warcraft lore Q&A number 61. Now in this video, pretty much as in any video, I'll be answering some of the questions that you guys left on the previous one, and if you'd like to get your questions answered, just feel free to leave it in the comment section below, and you can also send them by Facebook and Twitter, as that is the best way to leave your questions. Now just before I start, in order to not waste too much time, I just wanted to add something really important to this series, and pretty much I've been thinking of retiring this series. Now when I say retiring, I don't mean like never doing it again, but what I mean is I want to retire it like in this current format and then bring it into two new formats. So pretty much what I had in mind is that once a week or so, I'm not really certain at the time, I would do like a video just covering one question, usually the question that I have in the title in like these previous videos, and then I would like edit that video fully, like pretty much it's gonna look something like the last video I did. And then after that, probably like once a month or like probably every like 2 weeks, I will do like this big Q&A. You can ask me all sorts of questions, YouTube, personal, lore questions, or whatever you want. And those can be like 30-40 minutes, because I know a lot of people listen to this stuff while they're in game, and you know, bringing 10-minute videos doesn't really help. So do give me some feedback on this if you'd actually like to see this or not, because pretty much as I said, what I have in mind is I want to split it into two videos. So one big one answering a bunch of questions, as in sort of like a podcast type of video like these ones are, although like 3 times longer, and then like a few smaller ones answering like one really interesting question and then just editing everything together. So do leave your feedback below on what you'd like to see, as it is really important, especially for this series. Alright, so let's not waste any more time and let's begin. So the first question is by Joseph, and he asks, I have a question. In 6.1 cinematic, Kilrogg, aka Kilrogg, drank the demon blood, but he transformed into something else. Not normal fell orc, green eyes, spikes, and some other strange things. What does this mean? So it is a really confusing matter. I've actually been asked this a couple of times, and I was actually wondering the same thing, because in our timeline, they drank the blood of Maraad, which is obviously not the case here in this alternate timeline, because he was killed in the cinematic, as you could see. And I know some people will say maybe gul'dan just took some of the blood from his dead body or had an entire cauldron anyways, but that is definitely not the case, because the death of the pit lord usually breaks the pact, or the blood curse, if you could call it that. I believe that that's actually the formal term, the blood curse. And that is pretty much how the orcs were freed when Grom killed Maraad in Warcraft 3. Now obviously that doesn't mean that they will go back to their previous self. They will have like brown skin again, but it won't be like the same as before, although they will suffer the consequences of the curse. Now the main thing when you look at the Kilrogg transformation is that we've never actually seen a transformation like this, because he grew bigger, he got a bunch of spikes, his skin turned pale or sort of grayish, which is really weird, and he also got that extra like skull on his beard, which I'm guessing is a mistake on Blizzard's part. But the real question is like which blood can actually do something like that. I don't personally think it's Magteridon, because everyone is saying it's definitely Magteridon, because in the Burning Crusade he came to control Outland later on, and his blood actually did give these spikes. I think in the lore they aren't actually spikes. Pretty much when they're like food, those orcs are like ridiculously corrupted, and their bones are starting to grow bigger, so they break out of their skin, but I don't think it's actually spikes. And they never really look like the current Kilrogg, so I don't really think that is the case. Plus Magteridon is also weaker than Maraad, so I don't really see how his curse would be so much greater than Maraad's curse, or the Blood Pact, or whatever it's called. But I'm just gonna go out on a limb here and I'm gonna say it's something else. Maybe it could be this Dark One that they mention all the time, or the God of the Abyss that everyone has pretty much been talking about all throughout this expansion, the Arakoa, Cho'Gall, the Pale, and all these different creatures. And Kilrogg, when you look at it, he kinda resembled the Pale a bit in his skin color, and the Pale were actually affected by the powers of the Void, so that might be a bit of a clue. And now another clue is also, I don't know if you guys remember, you obviously do, because if you played Siege of Orgrimmar, Mists of Pandaria, you probably remember Malkorok, which is that big black rock orc from the Siege of Orgrimmar that is like Garrosh's personal bodyguard. He actually kind of looks similar to Kilrogg when you look at it, and he was kind of under the influence of the Y'Shaarj, the old god, or at least the heart of his. So even though I don't particularly think that they drank the blood of an old god, because I don't think that it can even work, but it could still be a possibility that they could be affected by maybe an old god, maybe some different source of magic that has something to do with the Void, and I also don't think it has anything to do with the Naru. Now, so far we really don't know anything, there aren't like any clues about this, so pretty much the best thing we can do right now is just wait for 6.2 and really see what's going on. Alright, the next question is by Lars, or Archea I guess, that's what he wrote in the comment. and he or she asks, I was watching the cutscene from when you finish the Shattered questline, the battle for Shattered, or the battle of Shattered, and in the cutscene, after the Maraad saves Yrel, he says, in the light we are one. My question is now, do you think that Maraad and Yrel are the same person? As far as I'm concerned, there is no Maraad in this alternate timeline and there is no Yrel in our timeline, so could they be the same? What are your thoughts on this? Alright, so I have already discussed this, I believe in my Maraad video and maybe in some of the Q&As, but not really into too much detail, so I'm just gonna give you some of my quick thoughts on it. Now, from what I know, they were supposed to fall in love, but they changed that because of the time travel complications. Also, probably the lack of time, because they switched so much stuff they actually had originally planned, like Bladespire, Kerabor. They even had something planned, I believe, with Kargat Bladefist, but they killed him off so easily, so probably Maraad is on the same boat as well. Now, since they said it is an alternate universe, many things have definitely changed and they're definitely not the same as they are on the previous. That is why we're not really traveling in time, back in time. We're just going to an alternate version of the previous world, pretty much of the previous Draenor, and a lot of things are kind of different. And this is just my theory from that sentence, because he says, in the light we are one, and I remember when Velen sacrificed himself, he said that he exchanged his life energy for his light energy and that he's one with Naru now. So I honestly think that everyone has a light energy, and maybe Yrel and Maraad have the same light energy, which is exactly why he said in the light we are one, because they have the exact same energy even though they're two different people in different timelines. And even though they may not be from the exact same timeline, the light doesn't really care and just sees one energy. So the entire situation with Maraad and Yrel is probably like a consequence of the alternate timelines and the differences between the alternate universe and the actual universe. Alright, the next question is by Dennis, and he asks, what do you think the next expansion will be about? Will Grom sacrifice himself for us so we can make it back to Azeroth, since he was betrayed by Kilrogg and now he doesn't have any more allies? He may become a good guy like he was in our timeline. So I have already shared my thoughts on this in the speculation video, but I honestly think it's gonna be the Eye of Ashara. Like, the name might not exactly be the same, they might use that copywriting they had the previous year for something else. It could be like a Hearthstone expansion, maybe something for the Heroes of the Storm. But I honestly think, regardless of the name, that the expansion will have to do something with the old gods like Enzot, the Naga, the South Seas, and pretty much everything underwater. So those are my current speculations, and I actually made a video before called the Eye of Ashara speculation, if you want to check that out. Although I really can't say anything, I mean, I'm not Blizzard, I don't really know what they're working on. It could be something completely different, but these are just my own views. Now, on your second question, what will happen with Gromash? Now, at this point, I'm really not certain, because at the start, when I really saw the cinematic, I thought for sure he was gonna be one of us, he's just gonna join us. But right now, I really don't think that is gonna happen, because after all, we did kill his son, and he actually found out he was his son in the cinematic, and we pretty much destroyed the entire Iron Horde, and we are the reason why Gul'dan is now stronger than him, because if we didn't destroy the Iron Horde, Gul'dan would really have no chance. So I don't really see why he would even want to join us right now. I mean, it's not like he knows anyone in the Horde, it's not like some people from the Iron Horde passed to our Horde and they just want to join us. I mean, and not even Troll, because in our timeline he knows Troll, but he doesn't really know who Troll is, because he only met him on Azeroth in our timeline. So I don't really see any motive for him to come with us except for us fighting Gul'dan, because we actually have the same cause. But another possibility is that maybe he was left in prison there and then he was force-fed demon blood, or he might have even willingly joined later on, although I don't personally think that is the case. I don't think he would really do that, especially after he knows that Garrosh is his son and he told him what is going to happen if he drinks the blood. So I don't really know what to say at the moment. I mean, there are just so many ways you can look at it, and we don't really have any hints or anything like that, or pretty much anything outside the cinematic. So just like the first question, we really just have to wait and see. Alright, and the last question is by the Dalek, or is it the Dalek 8889, and he asks, why weren't the Pandarian affected by the Cataclysm? So I actually have been getting this question quite a lot, not just lately but in the past like a year or so, and I'm really not exactly certain. I mean, if you know anything about this for certain, like if you have like official sources that Blizzard confirmed this, just feel free to correct me. But I have actually read that it has been affected by the Cataclysm, and that is why the mist started to fade. And it is also said that the Pandaren had high waves at the time of the Cataclysm, and that they even sent some minor earthquakes, although nothing happened on their actual world. But nothing really happened where they actually are, like, because they were concealed, so it didn't really affect them as badly. But it is also said that Northrend, because Northrend is pretty much the opposite of Pandaria, so Northrend was affected by it, by the Cataclysm, but we didn't really get a revamped version of Northrend, mainly because the current Northrend is just set back in time, because if new players join, they want to experience Northrend as it was, and there is an entire storyline about Northrend, so there is really no way to really kind of change it right now. But if we get new Northrend, I guess, or if there is like a new Northrend expansion, it'll probably be changed. But at this point, I don't really think we even know how the mists exactly work. It's pretty obvious that they aren't the same mist as we have like in our world, like the regular mists. But I believe it sort of like elevates it, possibly to like a different plane in the existing plane, or maybe like a different plane, which is why it wasn't affected on the material plane, which is the plane we're on right now. And the reason for the Cataclysm wasn't really just because of Deathwing. The reason for Cataclysm was because he broke from the elemental plane into the material plane, and that caused the Cataclysm, plus also Deathwing flying around and destroying everything. But I feel like if they were actually on the material plane, and if it was just the regular mists, just you can see in the distance, I believe they would obviously be affected, but I'm guessing they were somehow elevated into a different plane, and that is the main reason why they weren't affected by it. Alright, that is all I have for this Q&A. Thanks a lot for watching, and do give me some feedback on what you think about the question I asked before, if you'd like this format to be split into 2 videos, so like big one, like one big video once a month or like every 2 weeks, and then like a few videos a month just like fully edited and just answering like one question out of all of these. Also, if you'd like to leave your questions, I'm really not certain how we'll continue it, but you can also still leave your questions, because I will definitely answer it in the big video if I decide to do so. So feel free to leave your questions in the comment section below, and also send them by Facebook and Twitter, as that is the best way to do it. And also, if you like the video, don't forget to like and also subscribe, as it really helps out the channel and keeps all these videos going. And thanks a lot for taking the time out of your day to watch this video, and see you next time.